Good morning from sunny Loch Gilphead. It's Lilia from Heal Scotland here. And with me today, I've got the beautiful Lorna, who teaches an amazing system called the Gene Keys. Am I getting that exactly right?
Yeah, I don't know if I call it a system, but anyway,
Uh-huh.
I'm a guide. I'm a guide.
Yeah,
Jinkies
so
guide.
there's so many people really keen to learn more about this. So obviously, I wanted to get you on before the Goddess Gathering in Inverness. I apologise for, you can imagine my head's a bit mince with all the people in all the different venues. So we're just super excited to be. We're hitting Dundee this weekend, Aberdeen, and then in another couple of weeks we're up with you guys in Inverness. So we're really excited. So can you just start by telling us, how did you get into the Gene Keys and what is it? Well, tell us initially what it is. What is it?
Well, what I can tell you in its simplest form, because even the founder, he says he finds it hard to describe what the Gene Keys are. In its simplest form, they're like, just imagine that you've got a treasure chest inside yourself of superpowers. And so there's 64 of these keys within each and every one of us. Mm-hmm. And there's three frequency bands to each key. Mm-hmm. So there's like a shadow, there's a gift, and then there's a siddhi, and the siddhi is a divine gift. Every time I'm asked to explain these, I'm like, right, let me explain this so that we can understand. Maybe I always try to think I'm talking to like a child, so a child could understand it better, because it's so difficult to explain the synthesis of wisdom.
Yes, wisdom. I know, because and when you know it inside out and back to front, you assume everybody does.
I know, right?
You almost like have to go back and explain it like you're explaining it to a child, because I mean, there's so many modalities now, so many ways to look at the body, so many ways to look at what's inside of us.
Yes, but it's wisdom that we've all got within us, but it's within our DNA.
Right.
So, we talk about triggers and things trigger us and stuff. Well, that will be our DNA reacting to that. So we could be in our shadow state in that vibration at that time. So like, the Gene Keys are just like, they give you a map, a compass, and then you set off on a journey. But it's like an inner journey, So the compass is like a chart that you can download of you can get it yourself offline. It's based on astrology, and it's based on the I Ching, which is an ancient 4,000 or 5,000 year philosophy. A lot of people know about the I Ching. So it's based on the back of that. And it's just about trying to understand ourselves better on an individual level, I guess, and a collective as well. So, they are the keys to unlocking our true unique talents and gifts. And it's a hologenetic graph that you can follow this map. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. Mm-hmm. So can it help, because obviously one of the big things that we're always looking at is passion and living a life that we feel is purposeful and exciting, and at the very least interesting. So also we may have an inkling of what that is, but our subconscious beliefs can stop us from feeling that we are worthy or that we are capable or able. So is that something that could really help us?
Oh, absolutely. There's a whole journey that you can take with it, and there's actually a free introduction at the moment on the Gene Keys website, where you follow it for 3 days and you can decide if it's for you or not. But it's because there's a huge community out there, and it's something that I found, Lilia, that I'm passionate about, and how why I keep going with it all the time. There's, like you say, there's so many systems, modalities, things out there for people to hook into. And astrology, I was always fascinated with astrology, but I never deep dived into it. And through my own experience, like wanting to find out about my own body and heal myself and everything, it's something that came along in divine timing. And then I ended up like, I want to take this stuff out into the world as well, so that people can be responsible and accountable for themselves.
Uh-huh. And how did you find it?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I was on the 12-step. I was involved in the 12-step program through coming to a place of wanting to die myself, and through being in relationships with alcoholics and having my own issues through addictions. And I ended up in the 12-step movement. So I always say the 12 steps brought me to what's called the golden path and the gene keys. And it's just through synchronistic events. After having after having a spiritual awakening at the end of these steps. Well, I had mine at the 3rd step, where I completely came out of my body. And I really wanted to know what had happened to me. And that's when I started diving down rabbit holes. My whole life flipped over and changed. Yet that's when I believe these shadows sort of started rising up to the surface. And you're like, strap yourself in. And so it was through that journey led me then to this golden path journey. And I deep dived into that. The human design as well came along at the same time. A lot more people know about the human design than the gene keys. So I started going down the rabbit hole with that. But really, I mean, that was about 7 years ago. And we talk about things in the gene keys about the 7-year cycles and how the body regenerates its cells over the 7 years. So it's like a new language in many ways. Yet I feel it's a modern language that everybody can benefit from.
Absolutely. And it's so exciting. It's exciting to learn more about yourself. Because we've been so conditioned and programmed to do what the culture, the society, the parents, or whatever, especially when you come from a small place in Argyll like us, you just thought, well, what job can I get? Because, that's really literally what you had to do, because there isn't it's not like in the city where you've got a choice. And now with the internet and the choice just gets bigger and bigger, which is not always a great thing either, because it can just become more
distracting.
Yeah. So and I'm interested that you talk about the 12-step program, because I hadn't realised that's how you got into this, because I keep banging on about the 12-step program, but we're not all doing it. It's just like madness that would be kept to the sort of marginalised addiction side of the community, and we're all addicts and we're all crazy. We're all trying to work ourselves out, and we're all doing things we shouldn't do. And we all treat people in a way we shouldn't do. We're all saying, we believe, but we don't act as if we do believe, and all the stuff that everybody I know certainly swings in. And so I think it's a phenomenal framework, and I think that's maybe what we're lacking a lot of the time, a framework to go, right, well, let me run it through this. And, Russell Brand's, he really promotes it all the time, because that's right. On the path, keeps you sane. I think that the meetings as well are really, really powerful. It's other people that are actually willing to do the work. It's the same as you go to a yoga class, it's people that are willing to sit down for an hour and do yoga or whatever, It's the same thing, isn't it? It's getting together and doing it.
Yes, that's it. Absolutely. And when you're together, like we do know when we're together, and it's more powerful, isn't it? I find it is far more powerful when we're doing things together.
And that's why the gatherings have been such an enormous success. Because I look around and it was like, and I just lost a close friend 3 days before the first gathering, so I was really emotionally all over the place, and to then go in front an event and try and be this sort of light. But it was amazing, because obviously I just had to be honest about how I was feeling. I was very vulnerable. But what a perfect place to be, actually. With a whole load of other women, and we're just talking honestly and unveiling all the dark stuff as well as the light stuff, laughing, breathing together, just doing it together, because we're all go through the same things, just maybe slightly different times. But, we're all, it's actually quite embarrassing how similar we all are.
Exactly. Yes. And that's what we talk about in the 12-step program as well. Look for the similarities, not the differences, because as soon as you walk in or crawl in the doors, as I did, it's like you're looking for the differences. I was looking for the differences there, Lilia, and and I just wanted away from this word of God. I was like, oh no, I can't deal with that. And so bring me up to this point, fast forward. I mean, I did write my own book, a story, and seen it behind me there. I sold the last 3 that's the last one I've got to sell.
Well,
But
you're not selling for the gathering.
I'll get some for that. Yeah, I need to order more. So yeah, I wrote a book about that, but I really felt, because like my partner's still quite involved with it. Yeah, I'm not. But we're always watching what's going on and everything. And I kept saying, we need to change the language of God. We need to change the language of God. So I've set up this little God experiment, which links in with the Gene Keys as well. So there's a group of us following this just now, and we're meeting at the weekend again. But God's an acronym for Gifts of Divinity. So within your Gene Keys chart, you've got an SQ in the middle, right smack bang in the middle of your chart, which is your spiritual quotient. And it's based on the first 7 years of your life. So for me, we're all gifts of divinity. So we're all God. and I thought this is a beautiful way of sort of interlocking the Gene Keys along with trying to, change this language to a modern language. The 12 steps are my basics. They're my foundation. I go back to basics regularly with what I learned there. Like you say, when you're in that, like if I can give an emotional meltdown, I had one this morning, for God's sake, it's just like, I was in a big puddle of my own tears, and yet watching my mind not going into making stories up about why I was being like that, and watching myself full of self-pity and being a victim, woe is me, and laughing, and then, even going, like my mind's going, oh, you'll have to get in touch with Lilia and cancel this. You can't possibly be out there doing a live. It's like, no, you're fine, Lorna. You're absolutely fine. So yeah,
it's the ability to see, what the story that's running that isn't you and that isn't real and that isn't true.
It's that awareness, isn't it?
Isn't it? And you don't become the story, because you're not the story as we know. But it's not to say the story doesn't still want to come.
Oh, no. And we have to feel those feelings, don't we? And that's the other thing about the Gene Keys as well. So, because if you're applying them into your life daily, it's a powerful state of expanded awareness comes along with that, if you're following that. So I do run a group every week as well on a Tuesday night. And
is it online or is it in person?
No, it's online now. It's funny because I started it in my home, and then it just synchronized and online, so that there is other people from further down the road. It's we're in the UK at the moment. It's just a small group at the moment.
And can anyone join?
Anyone can join. Yeah, they can get in touch with me if they want to go and do the introduction. There is a small fee. It came from the back of the God experiment as well. It's £11.11.
Right. What is the website for the free 3-day?
Oh my goodness. I can put a link in underneath this after, because it'll take you then straight there, because you could go in there and it's like a minefield sometimes for people, and they want to pull out. But if I just put the link in underneath, then they can link straight into it, and then they follow that 3 days with Richard Rudd, who's the founder of the Gene Keys. They can follow that 3 days through their own genius and their own love and their own prosperity, because there's that's the first sort of 3 sequences of the journey.
Right, brilliant. And listen, so talk to us about what you're bringing to Inverness, what you're going to be doing with us as a group.
Right. So through my journey and the 12 steps and all my changes and my outer body thing, I got right into energy work, and then eventually into the shamanic work. Each time I think it's taken me just deeper into myself. So I went and trained with doing shamanic practices, and so at the gathering we're going to do a group. I've never done this before, so it's going to be really good, because it's going to be like a group soul retrieval. And I've already done a chart for that weekend, so I can explain about the chart briefly when we get there for all of us. And there will be identification, I'm sure, from everybody that's going to be there. I'm really excited about that, because it's like, if I just do a brief talk about the keys and, like you say, the similarities, when we spot the similarities between us, we can do a soul retrieval on the shadows and the woundings there, and bring that up for transmuting. I think it's just going to be lovely.
Fantastic, fantastic. And I know when I'm teaching people to let go, or I'm leading breath works or whatever it is, even just group EFT, it is so much more fun doing it with this crowd. Because, even when I used to go to Sedona, somebody would ask a question, and, somewhere in our collective, that's a question we all have in our mind. And then we all get the benefit of the collective release. And it's just, it makes many hands make light work. So do many.
Absolutely.
It's so powerful. So, so if people, I'm sure when they're listening this either live or whether they listen back later, are going to want to know more. So, could you do sessions online? Sessions online?
Sorry, can you cut off there? Can
you do private sessions online? Can people come to you one-to-one?
Oh yes, absolutely. Yes. Well, I'm a coach as well, so so it's all interlocked with coaching, guiding. Yeah.
Every single woman that I'm talking to these days that's coming to the gatherings, they've got a very, very similar. We don't do one thing. It's like, oh, I'm a Reiki master, or
I know, right?
Loads of different courses that we've done. And we've taken a little bit from everything and created something that's very, very distinct and unique to us because of what's worked for us, what's made us feel light and bright and, a lot more connected. So that's what I'm hearing from you as well. It's absolutely fantastic. So you can do one-to-ones. You can also talk to you about joining the group. And there's the 3-day on the website and the link that you will send to us.
Yes.
And then obviously anybody that's coming to Inverness or that's thinking about it can come and actually meet you in person. And the Goddess Gathering Enter the Field of Inner Knowing is really a mini retreat. I keep saying to people, there's so many brilliant retreats out there and brilliant workshops and days, and you can go and breathe and you can go and get cold. There's loads of people doing that. So I wanted to move in from that, where we're really actually doing a lot of work into the subconscious and getting rid of all the limitations. And it's so just being prepared to come on, let's get serious with this stuff. Let's lighten this energy body and really start focusing on the job that we agreed to come here to do, I believe. And it's time. The time is absolutely now. And, people like you that are coming are, bringing all these amazing things. Also from the Heal Scotland perspective, we want people to be educated on what's available. And maybe you don't need it now, but maybe next year or next week or tomorrow, you're like, well, actually, that came into my awareness for a reason. So that if people get a diagnosis or a prognosis, or if things are crumbling around us, which, let's face it, is going to happen, then we have enough tools in our toolbox. We have enough people that we can talk to. We have the tribe, the people that are really, really leading and forging the way and taking responsibility for themselves and for the communities and for what's available to us. So it's really exciting times, I think, and I'm just so excited to actually meet you in person in Inverness.
I know, right? I know. It's been a long time coming.
No, totally. It's the same for everyone. You feel like you know people because you've got so much in common, and we're all driven, I think, by the same thing, which is making a difference and helping people. And how that looks is a wee bit different for all of us, but ultimately we're all in this together. And the Dalai Lama said, change is coming through Western women, and that's certainly how it appears to me. We're brave, we're ready, we've got an overview, we've got kids, we've got grandkids, we're like, nobody's coming to save us here. We need to get off our arses and change this.
Goosebumps.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we're at the Leonardo Hotel in Inverness.
That's right, yes.
And for anybody that's listening, somebody's asking where they can find you online, Lorna, so we'll put your contact details in as well.
Yes.
So please, again, anybody that's listening to this, either live or later on, please share. If you know anybody in the Inverness area that would love this stuff, that's really ready to be free, to wake up to the incredible power of the body and all the gifts that we've been given, because we're so bloody focused on trauma and PTSD, which is, absolutely necessary at some times, but let's start looking at all the good stuff and really focus on where we're going. We're leaving the trauma behind and we're forging a new way to be, see, have, do, believe and perceive. And I just think it's such an exciting time to be here. That's what I'm feeling today.
Yeah.
Hopefully that'll last.
I just encourage people to be seriously playful.
Yes, exactly. Because we've lost our sense of humour. My God.
I know.
It's just like everything's an issue and you offend. And it's just like, oh my God, lighten up, people. More and more light and less dark and judgment. Yeah. So listen, fantastic to see you. And I look forward to it. Will be 3 weeks on Saturday.
Wow, as soon as that's not long, is it really?
Yeah, because we've got Dundee, then we've got Aberdeen, and then I've got a wedding. My niece is getting married in Edinburgh, so that's exciting. And then
you're such a busy lady.
It's crazy for me, but it's all exciting. It's all amazing stuff.
It's all good stuff, though, isn't it?
Yes, it really is.
It just energizes you each time you're doing it, and then allows you to keep going with it.
You know what, as well, myself, Jennifer Main, I don't know if you've met Jennifer, she's quite something as well, as is Julie. And, you know, I got this kind of idea, I'm not sure where it came from, but it was that Julie and Jen and I were to go around and do this tour. A really powerful, but we're learning every time. We're going through that process, and it's just been magical, to be honest, and so much fun, and obviously meeting. So the people that are drawn in, that are coming in, you know they're there for a reason. Like, you know, the people that are going to be in Inverness, and, you know, it's all divine.
Yes.
At the risk of sounding like an old hippie, I don't care. So,
cool.
Yeah, okay, yeah, you get out in the sun, Elizabeth. So thanks a million. Fantastic to see you. Excited to learn an awful lot more. And see you in 3 weeks.
Thank you. Bye, Lilia.